Today is the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year C. Our first reading is taken from the Book of Wisdom, attributed to Solomon, the wise one, who in the Old Testament is taken as the wisest of all. We remember that prayer that Solomon made, asking for the wisdom from God to be able to lead the people entrusted into his care. And from this book of wisdom, written to guide the youth, to guide the people on the right way, among other wisdom literature, is presented to us today. Yet there is something that this reading today points to us that is so valuable, and that is the wisdom of God is beyond human comprehension. In a world today filled with hostility, conflicts, wars, and different kinds of challenges, people always ask that question, where is God? Does God really care about the world? Is he concerned? God is a loving God, yet we have all these troubles. How do we explain them? Why does God allow these things to happen? Of what benefit is this to his glory? And so on. So today's first reading informs us that God's way of governing the universe is beyond human comprehension. It reads, "What man can know the intentions of God? Who can divine the will of the Lord? The reasonings of mortals are unsure, and our intentions are unstable. Who can know the intentions of God?" The wisdom of God is so deep for man to fathom. Later, St. Paul will be telling us that the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom. His operations and activities are clear too high for us to understand. And they are quite different from our way of thinking and our way of behaving. This is also seen in the gospel of today, from the gospel of Luke chapter 14 verse 25 to 33. In the demands of discipleship, the cost of discipleship presented by Jesus. The words of Jesus in the gospel today are enough to send his disciples away, and even to scare prospective disciples, followers of Jesus. And one thing about Jesus is that Jesus doesn't mince words. He says them as they are. And it is important for us to know the demands. Yet if we have decided, if we have accepted, it is our choice. It's not like our politicians that will tell us flowery things, and yet we know they are not going to meet those promises they made. Jesus tells us as it is. And today, looking at the crowds, seeing all those who have followed him, he puts it point blank. If anyone wants to come after me, if anyone wants to be a follower of mine, it is your choice. He's not forcing you. But in case you have decided, in case you have thought it out, then these are the requirements. These are the demands. You must hate your father and your mother, and wife and children, brothers and sisters, even your own life too. Unless you have done this, then you cannot be my disciple. These are the words of Jesus. These are hard to believe. These are difficult to accept. Possessions, marriage, wife, family. These are values, things dear to us, things we take as part of God's blessings to humanity. Both in the Jewish context and in our context today. Anyone with happy family, with mother, parents, children, possessions, is taken as blessed by God. These are ways of God's blessings to those who love Him. In the Old Testament, we see that Abraham, for instance, was blessed. And all the patriarchs with these possessions, with family, with longevity of life. And here Jesus is teaching us to hate them, to denounce them, to renounce them, and even oneself. How can the one who teaches us to love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us now teach us to hate? How can he be a teacher of hatred? We don't really take this literally. It means that allegiance to Jesus Christ comes first. It's primary allegiance. The love of family, the love of wife, the love of father or mother or children, the love of possession should not distract us or deny us. Not even the love for oneself. That's not enough to deny us this primary allegiance to Jesus Christ. And not just that Jesus had asked us to renounce all these things. If you like, they are in the negative because there are things we need to give up. But there's something he wants us to carry, to take up, and that is his cross. Or rather, our own crosses. Jesus is not teaching us something that he himself has not lived. He's teaching us his own way of life. He's teaching us to carry or to follow in his own footsteps. Left his father, Joseph, left his mother at the age of 12. He remained in Jerusalem, in the temple, teaching. He became a wandering preacher, wandered from place to place, gave up all possessions in order to do the will of God. That famous hymn in the letter of St. Paul to the Philippians, chapter 2, from verse 4, in fact, from verse 2 to 11, says it all. the humility of Jesus, the self-emptying. And this self-emptying is what Jesus is calling us today to do. Give up everything. Give up our pride. Give up all those values, all those things that will keep us away from total commitment, from the absolute loyalty that the demand of discipleship calls us to do. The question we may ask ourselves is, what have we given up? What are we ready to give up? What is it that is still keeping us away from totally and absolutely committing our lives to the mission of Jesus Christ? What is the cross that is still too heavy for us to bear, to carry? What is it that is militating against our discipleship, our following of Christ, our being faithful and sincerely following Him in the way that He has called us to? We need the wisdom. We need the sacrifice. We need the commitment. And that is what Jesus calls us to do. Following Jesus is not an easy task, but it's not an impossible task either. For He always sustains us, and if we follow in His footsteps, then He will truly lead us in the right path, because His word is a lamp for our steps. Let us pray and ask Him for the grace. Let us make Him our refuge. Let us come under His care and guide us. And it is only then that we can be true disciples, not allowing any values of this world to keep us away from following Him, but following in the way that is right and worshiping Him in the way He deserves to be worshipped.